Today we have a special guest, the amazing Wesley Hunt. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us because you are a very busy man. You are running for Congress.
That's right.
That's amazing. Okay, so tell me about the position that you are seeking for and why you are the man for this job.
Oh, of course. So I'm running for United States Congress, Congressional District 7 here in Houston. That's comprised of Bel Air, West University, River Oaks area, Memorial, Tanglewood, the Energy Corridor, all the way out to Katy. And then north of I-10 is the western part of Cypress. So it is a pretty big, it's an interesting district shape, but I think it's one of the most influential districts actually in the entire country, given the community and given the Energy Corridor is basically encompassed in the entire district. And again, I'm running to really kind of preserve our way of life here in Houston, Texas. I'm born and raised here in Houston. I went to St. John's School for high school, went off to West Point. Fun fact about my family, my dad did 23 years in the Army. My sister is a West Point graduate first. She did 23 years active duty. I'm a West Point graduate, class of 2004, and my brother is also a West Point graduate, class of 2005. And so there's about 60 years worth of military service just in my immediate family. And the same Houston, Texas that created the Hunt family, I want to make sure is there for my little 16-month-old baby girl, Victoria Rose, and also for everyone's child and for everyone's grandchildren here in this district that's actually been a part of one of the greatest cities that the United States has actually ever seen.
Wow, that's amazing. First, let me just thank you and your family. That is a huge sacrifice. So thank you so much for serving us and allowing us and protecting us, protecting our freedoms. So let's touch back a little bit on your 16th month old. We talked a little bit about your wife trying to do some toilet training.
Yeah.
I love that. And what's your wife's name?
Her name is Emily Hunt.
Emily.
Pediatric nurse practitioner at Texas Children's here in Houston.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Let's go. That's awesome.
She makes my job really easy when it comes to raising a little girl. I mean, she has all the answers.
That's amazing. That you've got the most spectacular woman by your side. I love that. And you also talked about your family on how they're all service. So how has service members? So how has a daughter, a 16-month-old daughter, how has she changed your perspective on your politics and how you want to create change and reform, or how you want to help our area grow? Does she help you create a new insight into that?
Sure. I mean, that little girl melts my heart every day. And anytime I feel tired or anytime I don't want to make the extra phone call or go the extra mile for what I'm trying to do right now, I just look into her eyes and I say, I have to do this for her. And in the morning, we have a little routine where she gets up and then my wife gets up, goes and gets her, and then brings her to the bedroom. She looks up and she goes, Dada, every day. And I just like, okay, the world is right. And I know that what I'm doing is worth it because I'm setting her up for her future. And I want to make sure, just like I said earlier, that the same Houston, Texas, the values, the community here that created our family is just there for her. So thank you.
You're incredible. I love that. Okay, so not only do you have this big heart and you understand the importance of family, but you are incredibly smart. You graduated from West Point. You have a BS in leadership and management, and you also dabbled in mechanical engineering.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And then you have several masters. I couldn't memorize them all. Tell me about all the master's degrees and all the education. Like I can't hold all that.
What's actually really funny is probably the most challenging school that I went to was flight school right after West Point, where I learned how to fly a helicopter. That's pretty cool.
Really?
It's downhill from there, but so with the flight school, flew Apaches in the Army for a while, and then got out the Army after a few deployments. And then went on to Cornell and did a master's in business, a master's in public administration, and a master's in industrial and labor relations.
Three.
I mean, 3 master's degrees in 4 years.
3 masters. 4 years?
4 years. Yeah.
You are amazing. Okay, so then you did touch though about your service in the Army, and you were an Apache helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
That is, I think that is really cool. But for you, I'm sure that was really scary in actually. So how did your decision to join the Army and all of the things that you learned out there serving our country, how did all of that play into molding who you are today and what you're fighting for as you are running for Congress?
Well, my mom and dad are really big on service and giving back to the community in some capacity. And they believe in grit, they believe in taking risks, and they believe in making sure that you serve your country. That was just something that I grew up with, just kind of in our DNA in our house. That's how you get 3 West Point graduates. And once I got to the Army, you take an oath to defend this country against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. So when you take that oath, it's bound by your life. And I've lost 14 classmates actually from my West Point class of 2004 in the global war on terror, and they paid the ultimate sacrifice. And so what did I learn from that? I was fortunate enough that God spared my life for whatever reason. And so now it's actually incumbent upon me to continue to serve for those who are no longer currently living, to serve for themselves because they sacrificed for us to be here. And so we take that very seriously. We take that oath very seriously. And personally, I think we need more of that sentiment in our leaders in Washington. That's the biggest reason why I'm running.
And you touched on service. In Rotary, we believe in service above self. And when I was reading your bio, I mean, some of the organizations that you support, it is just a long list. It's even longer than your education credentials. So can you tell me a little bit about the organizations that you support, how you serve them, and how that helps you become a better person and hopefully a better congressman?
Sure. Particularly, one of the biggest honors that I have currently right now is I'm actually on the board of trustees of my high school at St. John's. And you know, that's a commitment that I take a lot of pride in, because it's a group of adults. Some of them have students there, some of them are graduates from St. John's, and we are responsible for shaping the direction of the school for the future. It's a K through 12 school, and so the decisions that we make impact children and how they're going to learn and what they're going to learn and what their facilities are going to look like and how are they going to be formed to be the best adults that they could be once they leave St. John's. So the idea of reaching out to the youth, getting engaged with young people, that to me is where the secret sauce is. I think a lot of people around, you know, my age, I'm a millennial. I'm on the higher end of that scale, but I technically am a millennial. I think at this point we've been working for a little while. We're paying taxes. We have a pretty good idea on what we believe and how we think. The future is always in our children, and always making sure that the America that we create for them is one of integrity, is one of hard work, it's one of understanding sacrifice. And to have the ability to help shape that it's not even service for me anymore. It's just more of my duty to do that. I have to.
I love that. I totally support you. You are amazing in all of that, in all of that you said, because you are so right on all of that. And so you were talking about, really, you want to leave a legacy and pass that on, not only for your family, but for all of everyone who has a child, including me. So what is your vision there? What is the legacy that you would like to see in the future?
Right, the legacy. My mom and dad would always say, when you go spend the night at somebody's house, leave it better than how you found it. That's it. And so, you know, when you look at the generation that we have had before us, going back to the greatest generation from the World War II guys to get back to here, it's our responsibility to leave this world better than we found it. And if we keep doing that with each generation, that's how we sharpen each other, and that's how America gets better. And right now we're going through some pretty interesting times, as I'm sure you know, but it's through these tough times that we really begin to sharpen each other and we really begin to have tough conversations and tough dialogue, that on the back end, we are better off because of it. We've seen this in the Civil War. We've seen this in the Vietnam War. We've seen this in the Civil Rights Movement. We have seen this in movements throughout this entire country, and we always come out of it better than we were before. So that's what our responsibility is for our future posterity.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm definitely one of those parents that do worry about the future and do worry about the current situation and the current climate that we're in right now and how that's going to affect our children. And you touched a little bit about talking to our kids, and some of these are going to be tough conversations. And I truly believe that that change happens in our homes. What kind of message would you like to leave those of us that do have families that we are raising right now? What kind of message of upliftment and hope would you like to share with us as we get through these tough times?
We've been in a worse situation in this country. It's been worse. We have to just keep that in mind and keep that perspective that we have got to work together regardless of what your race, color, or creed is. That doesn't matter anymore. We are all in this boat together. We are all Americans. And we have to keep in mind that the rising tide raises the elevation of all ships. If we remember that we are in this together and to treat your fellow man as you would want as you would want your children to be treated, because you always want your children to be treated even better than you. If we keep that in mind as we engage each other on these tough conversations, keep an open mind, no judgment, don't pass judgment, just listen to people's experiences and how can we learn from each other. If we keep that in mind, I guarantee you we will get through this.
I love that. That's a very interesting perspective to spin that on how we want our children to be treated. I love that. So in closing, I do want to make sure that people know how to vote, why they should vote, and when they should vote, especially when your race is coming up.
Sure. So my race is coming up. It's on election day. It's going to be November the 3rd. And my name will be the third name on the ballot in Congressional District 7. So please be looking out for it. But not just my name. All the names down ballot, all the other elected officials, it's important. It's not just voting for the president. That's always, every 4 years, that's when everybody shows up. But really, laws are made down at the very granular municipal area that we got to pay attention to, and oftentimes gets overlooked. So people need to make sure that you figure out who you want to vote for, who aligns with you very well. Do a little bit of research. It won't take long, and make sure you go all the way down ballot so we get the best people in the right positions so they can serve us best.
Okay. Final pitch. We're in Houston. Energy corridor is in your district. Energy supports the city. It upholds the city. Your final pitch, why we vote for you. Sure.
This is the energy capital of the world, and the energy corridor is encompassed in it. And this is the bread and butter. It is our heartbeat. It is our blood, is the oil and gas industry. And right now you have one side of the aisle, in my opinion, that's coming after our jobs in terms of what the Green New Deal would do to Houston, Texas. And we saw what happened in Detroit when the automotive industry left. We saw what happened in Pittsburgh when the steel industry left. And that cannot be our Houston, Texas. And so I am running to make sure that we preserve those jobs, preserve those values for our future.
Thank you, Wesley. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. You really have opened my eyes to who you are, your character, and your heart, and I love it all. Well, you take care of that beautiful 16-month-old, and blessings to you and your family, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
This video was created by Tiny Sparrow Marketing. To learn how we can help the world see your business the same way you do, visit us at tinysparrowmarketing.com.